Live from downtown San Francisco, this is 95.7 The Game.
There we go. My man's got a new haircut. He's shadow boxing. He's good to go. I'm talking about one Chucky Walter.
No
What's
more
up, Chuck?
supercuts, baby.
Where'd you go?
We're into salon life now. Stonestown Galleria.
All right.
Yeah, they have a salon right across the way from Saks Fifth Avenue. So
Did a smaller person with hiccups give you a haircut?
No,
That used to be the old joke when I was a kid.
no. Actually, it's been hard to communicate with the barber there. They don't speak much English, so I just go in there. And first time it was a little difficult. Had to show them pictures, but nowadays I'm a regular.
Well, at least you paid for it, because remember we were talking to people on one of the first things we had them do before they gave their take. I forgot what it is that they were venting about, but we said, how much you paying for a
Brush
haircut?
with fame. Yeah.
For the most part, nobody was paying for haircuts. Remember that? There was like 25 callers in a row, and they're all getting them for free, doing them themselves. I mean, I guess it's a lost art on paying some money to take care of yourself. All right. By the way, they just switched. On one of our monitors here in the studio, for some reason, we tapped into one of those Detroit regional shows.
No, it's because the degenerates in the back, and I'm not naming names. I'm not pointing fingers at myself. There were some people on Hornets -7. The Sharps were all over it, so easy cover for Charlotte.
What happened tonight?
Easy cover.
Oh, okay. Well, Detroit, the team that they were playing, by the way, I just happened to see the numbers, and the one guy they're talking about, I mean, just imagine Bonte if he was doing the Detroit Piston postgame show. It's all about Jimmy Wise. Tonight, 23 points, 9 of 11 from the floor. Do you want me to repeat that? 9 of 11 from the floor, 7 rebounds. Significant, impactful minutes tonight for Jimmy Wise.
And a -9. Can't leave that out.
Plus minus in a game. Means absolutely
Analytics.
nothing.
Who needs them?
All right. Speaking of Jimmy Wise, let's talk about his former team, that being the Golden State Warriors. Impressed, not so much. Big win, not so much. They take care of Minnesota. Houston, I'm not really going to count because that's the worst team in the NBA, but it's a win. And everything is so meaningful from this point forward, right? 22 games left. It's nip and tuck. You got about 10 teams that are all bunched together. Nobody seems as though they're ready to race out in front, aside from maybe I'd say Denver, and I'm waiting for Phoenix to put it into another gear. But aside from that, everybody could just be nip and tuck from here on out. Your thoughts on the win over Minnesota, a game they tried to give away like 10 different times in the closing 2 minutes?
I thought it was a gutsy win. I mean, at this point in the season, you have to beat a team like Minnesota. I thought the Wolves were going to have a resurgent year. I don't know where they'd be resurging from because they've been so bad for so long, but I thought they were going to pick up where they left off last year, which was good at the end of the year, and that has not been the case. So you expected the last 2 games Golden State to come and run the Rockets out of the gym. That they did, check. And you expected them to beat the Minnesota Wolves. It was gritty. Wasn't always pretty, but a win's a win. They got to beat the bad teams at this point. If they lose a few to the good teams, they will be okay. They just need to sneak into that 6th seed. And as of right now, they're right on track to sneak into that 6th spot. My question is, where are they going to get some help?
You're talking buyout. I know you're all about the buyout. Who's the new name of the day? You come in with a different name every day. Who you barking today?
I was sitting on the John today, and Kylan from the across the hall in the other room's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "What's going on? This better be good. Did ESPN just throw you a contract? What's going?" She goes, "Woj just announced on Twitter that Nerlens Noel got bought out." I'm like, Nerlens Noel.
Oh my God!
That's the oh my God. That's what made my heart sink right there. But the more you look at it, Noel bought out today, played 22 minutes a game last year with the Knicks, still can protect the rim at an elite level. He's not going to give you anything offensively, but I've always liked Noel. You go back to when he was the top recruit in the country before he committed to Kentucky, actually the all-time best recruit at UK in front of AD, John Wall, Boogie. So huge bust in that regard, but he's 7 foot tall, he's 28 years old, and you only need 5 minutes, 10 minutes a game from the guy. You in, you out. Can he help you win?
Yeah, you need somebody to protect because you just can't match up some of the bigs. Like last night, Reed was going up. There's always somebody. I mean, this is a team without Cat, without Gobert. How come every team always can go like 4 or 5 in terms of a front court with bigs that the Warriors just simply cannot match up with? Every single team, every single game. Just to pull back the layers on this contest against Minnesota. First of all, got to recognize Klay Thompson. I think this is amazing.
Dude, how about the three-pointer from the corner pocket? I guess it wasn't a three. It was step inside. But he banked it in from behind the hoop.
Yeah, not intentionally.
Still, one of the more amazing shots I've ever seen. You see the replay, and you're expecting the bank to go in off the window. It was off like the side of the backboard and somehow snuck in there.
Yeah, well, that just tells me that he had no intent to hit the backboard.
100% accidental. Barry Bonds is sitting there like, oh, baby. But good stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, you see A-Rod sitting there with Bonds, obviously
A-Rod was in the house?
Well, an owner of the Wolves.
Yeah,
so he was in the
right.
house.
That's
and
right.
Mr. 700 sitting next to 696. Always makes me wonder why in the hell A-Rod would call it quits with 696 home runs. What a coward.
Yeah, I never liked it. I was never, ever in on that guy.
Pull
never
a Mr. 3000, come back, get your 4 home runs, and retire. You're gonna call it quits with 696?
You know, there's some people that always say this, and you'll find this out as you get older in the profession, that there are athletes that you pull for, and everybody likes athletes from afar, and then you begin to get to know them as people, and you pull for people. That's who you want to do well, just like anything else. Like I have friends that I want to do well. I want to see you do well. And in sports, when you befriend some of these athletes, you want to see them do well. And A-Rod was just a guy, and I spent a lot of time with that dude. We lived in the same condo. I got stories. I just never dug that dude. He never liked me. And then we reunited years later in New York, and it turned out I was dating his girlfriend.
Oh,
yes,
name drop there.
There you go, right?
Brush with fame for Devone.
This is a great story. So her name was Lindy. I won't give out a last name.
Lindy!
She tells me a great story of when she was dating A-Rod. He lived in the CNN tower, right?
Okay.
And so he would literally come home, and the guy had like these 6 flat screens. It was like being in your studio at KPIX, and every single one would be on, and different angles of him in the game he had just played at Yankee Stadium, say like 2 hours prior. I mean, and he'd have parties, and that TV would be on. He would just look at himself. The dude, he is the closest thing to a living narcissist that we've ever seen.
I saw some video
By the way, my text line's done. I feel naked out here. I can't. Well, actually, it feels kind of liberating that I have no idea what the coconuts are saying right now.
Well, you know what? I was coming in thinking I may drive today, and that's what you get for taking the one chair, and I'm here on the wrong side of the road again for about the 9th straight show.
So you're going to have to relay what it is that they're saying, if it's of any consequence.
Is A-Rod on the NPF list?
Oh, thank you very much. No, because he's not. He's a tool, but he's not punchable. He's not. I mean, as much as you can call him a coward, which is good. I think that's apropos. But punchable, nah. That's reserved for that special Grayson Allen sort of
I don't
people.
even know if coward's the right word. It's more so he knew.
No, he was a coward.
If he got to 700, it would bring up more talk on the steroid use, and he would get more abuse. So he just said, you know what, I'm gonna ride off to the sunset with 696 and act like I never played this game and go in on a basketball team in Minnesota. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, yeah, that's just it.
Options to consider, though.
Oh, by the way, let me just throw this out here. One of the reasons why he is a coward and why he's that guy, ALCS, back in, I don't know, was it the early 2000s in that play? Just Google it, where A-Rod runs into the first baseman. It might have been Veritek, or Veritek is the guy that he fought, and he jars the ball. He slaps the ball clearly out of the guy's hands on the back end of a double play. And then he holds his hands up, and I think this might have been prior to video replay. Like, no, he dropped it. It was a weird collision. You can clearly see his hands knocking the ball out. It reminded me of another coward, that being LeBron James, who against the Golden State Warriors just the other night clearly rakes the arm of one Jermichael Green and then screams to everybody out, didn't I get all ball? And they replayed it.
And meanwhile, LeBron James, when he gets fouled on a play in a January basketball game, he's on the ground, no! We got, who was it, from Florida coming out there and saying that the whole dog situation, the weird tweet, whatever. Anyways, to piggyback off LeBron James, you did hear that there's fear LeBron's going to miss an extended period of time with a right foot injury that he suffered in the win over Dallas, played through it. So indefinite amount of time. Lakers are toast, man.
That's
I know we've said Lakers have been toast since the first game of the year when we saw them get waxed, but maybe you thought they could be resurgent with a nucleus, a different nucleus surrounding LeBron James. But if LeBron's out and they're already behind the 8 ball, good luck.
Yeah, and their win the other night against Dallas, they thought that was the turning point. Down 27, biggest comeback on the year. And this, I think it was their 5th win in a row. And they really looked as though since the trade deadline and the players that they acquired, including Hachimura, including going out and getting D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, that was a team that had really improved themselves. But the one thing, because they had dug themselves in such a significant hole that they could not afford to do, is have any of those cats get hurt, especially AD and LeBron. If LeBron's down, forget it. It ain't happening this year. But I wanted to start there for a second, unless you got something else going on.
No, I got all night.
You know
we got 3 hours here.
Here's the thing. When it comes to the trade deadline, and this to me was really emblematic of why the Warriors are no longer the Warriors and maybe the beginning of the end. Because think about it. When the Warriors wanted to go get their guy and it was the trade deadline, the Warriors they were head and shoulders above everybody else. It's almost as if they rigged the system, man. It was almost like when I was a kid and Bill Walsh on draft day. It's like he was playing chess, everybody else was playing checkers, or vice versa, however that phrase goes. And the Warriors, when they needed somebody, they went and they got Bogut, a significant, impactful player that I think was as significant as anything else in terms of turning them into a championship team. They went and got Kevin Durant when they felt as though they needed another piece, as good as they were. Even last year, it wasn't as big or as ceremonious, but when you think about the acquisition of Otto Porter and Bielitsa, always the key guys. They always did it better than everybody else. And you look at this trade deadline, and they clearly needed help. And what did they do? They got rid of Jimmy Wise, who was their number 2 pick, which was a declaration of, we screwed up. And they bring back GP2 at 6'2", who is supposed to be the answer that can't play for the rest of the season. Now, it may work out, but then you look at the before-mentioned Lakers.
Now. Rest of the season, where are you getting this? Last time I heard, he's going to be reevaluated in, when was the trade deadline? He's going to be reevaluated any day and could be right around the corner in March.
Where did you read that? Unless you and I are getting differing reports.
At the press conference where Bob Myers announced it, he said they're going to reevaluate him in a month, and the hope is to have him back at some point before the playoffs or during the playoffs.
Okay.
So you saying he's done for the season? I'm just
okay. Well,
clarifying. If you have reports, if you have sources, let me know. Did A-Rod tell you that?
No, but if I'm to read GM speak, if any GM says we're hopeful to have him back before the All-Star, before the playoffs, means that there's 0 to little chance that it's going to happen. Maybe I'll put it in the 5 percentile. But just think about it. Meanwhile, here are the Lakers. They get D'Angelo Russell. They bring in Vanderbilt. You talk about wanting that big. Vanderbilt was there. Why didn't the Warriors go get this guy? They also bring in...
Because they didn't have any assets to trade for him.
But they get Vanderbilt. They get Russell D'Angelo. And then...
Yeah, but they had a guy named Russell Westbrook that they were throwing on the block that's going to return you something. If you're the Warriors, unless you're dishing away Poole and...
But my point is that Kyrie Irving goes to Dallas. Kevin Durant, not to the Warriors this time, he's to Phoenix. It's almost as if the other teams are now more active. And those are the teams that I think have almost passed the Golden State Warriors when it comes to being, that team that is going to go out and get the players to win a title. Meanwhile, the Warriors got GP2 at the end of the day.
All right, so can I get back to my point that I led the show with?
Yeah, what I asked you if I was interrupting. You said, no, go ahead. We got 3 hours. But apparently...
And you went with your points, and here I am. We're back. Life is just a flat circle, they say. March 1st is the deadline for bought-out players. It's the 27th. It's February. It's a short month, so you have until Wednesday. If nothing happens Wednesday, it's one of the two-way guys, or it's nothing. This is the roster you have for the Warriors, and you hope Gary Payton II's healthy. Options to consider. I gave you Nerlens. He's 7 foot tall. He's pretty young, and he can still jump. But can he help you?
I don't mean to cut you off, but at this point, are any of those guys going to be significant and impactful in terms of winning and losing or getting you into the playoffs? They got to, first of all, they got to acclimate themselves into the system this late. I mean, you're going to talk about 20 games left, and a guy's going to come in and hit the ground running and be a guy's going to give you rebounds and D-up on these other guys. I mean,
you're not asking for a ton. You're just asking for a role.
But to work into the Warriors' rotation, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But go ahead.
Okay.
You keep throwing him up, and I'll keep swatting him down.
Nerlens Noel. The statistics say he stinks. Detroit gave up on him, so maybe he stinks. All right, 1 down.
Oh, so we give them Jimmy Wise, and we get their refuge back? Is that what you're saying?
That's what it sounds like here. Second, Serge Ibaka. 11 minutes a game with Milwaukee in 16 games this season. He was dissatisfied with Milwaukee, reportedly, so he took a personal leave. Could Serge Ibaka help this team defensively?
Cam, when you get a chance, let's just all laugh. If you can find, we just need to laugh. Serge Ibaka and this.
Okay. Number three.
Keep going, because we're going to laugh even harder.
There's a veteran.
Stand by, Cam. Stand by.
There's a veteran.
I have a feeling that he's
standing
real,
up, baby. This sweatshirt's getting a little hot in here. Stat line in Taiwan: 25 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Dwight Howard.
You didn't just say that on my show, did you? Or our show?
Yeah, your show. I'm out. All right, Dan. You said last week you really enjoyed the solo shows. That's it.
That's
I'm
it. Went to my head.
I'm gonna get paid for the full day. I'll see you later. I'm going to the Dolphin Club. All right.
Oh, no. Hold on to it, Cam. When he's done, we'll all laugh, Cam. Get ready. Loosen up your pants. We're gonna
all right, so you're laughing.
We're gonna belly chug.
You're laughing at those three. How about number 4?
Go ahead. You're on a roll.
Played a role last year.
This is night mic at the. You get the live mic.
I'm at Funny Bones
Chuckles
right now. Hey, everybody, how are you? Chuck Walter here. Mike's hot, and so is a man that played a role with Denver last year. Knows the system. Boogie Cousins.
Are you done?
That's it.
Chuck. Oh, I'm sorry, Cam.
Nothing so good for the soul as
My
a
thoughts.
hearty laugh. Everybody laugh.
Give it to me again. Say the names.
Nerlens Noel.
Keep going.
Serge Ibaka.
One more.
Dwight Howard.
Give me another.
Boogie Cousins. All right, so that's it. Dan shut them all down. That means the Golden State Warriors are who they are. Unless you want to sign Anthony Lamb, because you have Anthony Lamb for 4 games left. Here's the deal. 2-way contracts came into play in 2017, so still pretty nuanced. A lot of the casuals, including me before about 8 months ago, did not know how the 2-way contracts worked because, quite frankly, aside from like Alex Caruso and Monte Morris, 2-way players have always been irrelevant. So here's the deal. You get 50 games, right? Yep. Our guy, I just said his name. Why am I? Anthony Lamb.
Anthony Lamb.
He's at 46.
Yeah. Well,
he's got 4 games left to play.
It's going to come down to between him and Ty Jerome, and he's going to get the last roster spot. And that's because
So you think Anthony Lamb is a better basketball player and can help you more as a 6'7", tries to guard the 5. He's better than that of Serge Ibaka or Boogie Cousins?
Yeah. For the Warriors right now. Oh, I would say that Steve Kerr, if you were to talk about favorite players on this current roster, I'd say Anthony Lamb is in the top.
And that's why people
8.
are pretty upset with Steve Kerr right now, because quite frankly, a lot of people don't think he's good.
You know, I was sort of with you, and the more I watched, if you watched the game last night, you could see what it is that Kerr sees. Like the gritty rebounds. You're right. He's ugly, man. He's got a soft body.
He's a catamount. That's how everyone that went to Vermont, Taylor Coppenrath, TJ Sorensen,
he doesn't
they
look
play
right
like that.
But his rebounding, his rotations, like he does those things that Steve Kerr is looking for in a basketball player to play on his team. It's those winning plays, man. And I saw it last night. You could see, like, he gets rebounds that Jonathan Kuminga just simply does not. He's a guy that, and on the defensive end, he locks dudes up, and he's versatile in terms of the people he guards. I know. Listen, I'm slow to the party as well. But Anthony Lamb has worked his way into a significant role. He knows the system now, and Steve Kerr recognizes his value on that basketball team. There's no way he's leaving that rotation.
So March 1st, he's getting signed, is what you're saying. Once they go through and they decide they don't sign anyone, in 2 days, I'm going to be upstairs at KPIX, and I'm going to say, all right, the reports are out. Anthony Lamb, Golden State Warrior, has signed a 1-year deal with a couple $1 million, and the Warriors roster is finalized.
There is no doubt. There is no doubt. And unfortunately, it's going to be Ty Jerome that's got to go down. So Ty Jerome's the other guy, right?
Pour one out for Ty Jerome. He's been good.
Yeah, he has been good, but he plays at a position where when Steph comes back, you don't really need him. He's been really valuable when you think about it, but it just becomes a position of need. And Anthony Lamb right now is at that 3-4 where you need bodies.
God, you love Anthony Lamb.
I don't.
You and Kerr love these 2-way players.
No, but you know what? I'm glad you brought this up, and maybe we can pick this up on the other side. Because it's those players that do the little things. That's how the Warriors really built the foundation for this championship. I'm being completely honest here. It's about guys like West, Pachulia, It's about the Andrew Bogut's.
You're comparing David West to...
No, I'm just saying that these were guys that...
David West was a stud.
Yes, but when he came to the Warriors, he was on the back end of the mountain. But what he did is that he filled that little role where there was defense, and that's who the Warriors are. It's about those guys that do those little things and leave the bread and butter, the scoring, to Steph, Clay, and Jordan Poole. Who, by the way, we'll discuss Jordan Poole. And I am going to go off on Jordan Poole because I'm done with him. Done with him as a Golden State Warrior. Wow. And the reason is because he doesn't do what Anthony Lamb does. He doesn't do any of the things of the before-mentioned players. So in order to win in the Golden State Warriors, you always had to be a two-way player or give me something more than scoring the basketball.
You know what Jordan Poole does that I like that goes unnoticed?
Crashes into the basketball standard?
No, he plays every game. Like him and Looney are the only constants.
Yeah, but it seems as though he gets hurt and ripped his ACL every single night.
Yeah, he's wearing the Calvin Cambridge sneakers right now and just falling all over the place.
But when he goes down, it's like,
in there.
It's my ankle. I don't know if I'll... And people bought into this. I remember announcers were like, Poole's down. Hold on, Poole is down. Poole... And now they just roll Poole. Now it happens. It's a nightly...
It's a running joke.
Oh, it's just Poole's... It's like Meadowlark Lemon. Always used to feign this injury. Harlem Globetrotter.
Okay, so you have sat here for the last 3 weeks talking Jimmy Wise. Oh, we love Jimmy Wise. He gives you
Jimmy Wise.
He gives you size. He's in Detroit right now at a -9.
9 of 11 from the floor
with the Pistons, and guess what? The Pistons didn't even come close to covering the 7. Cha-ching, cash it. You love the size, and now you're saying that Anthony Lamb. When I'm giving you the option of saying, hey, Nerlens Noel's 28, he's 7 feet tall, he can block some shots and give you some minutes, you're saying, nope.
Well, you just mentioned Jimmy Wise. That's a perfect example. Because if you look at Nerlens Noel...
Nerlens Noel defends. Jimmy Wise didn't defend.
Yeah, but you look at a 7-footer that's doing something well in another uniform, and he comes to the Golden State Warriors. If he can't buy into the system, much like that of Jimmy Wise, look at Wiseman from afar. If I was to show you tonight, right, let's just say he never played with the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors are having their issues currently, right? They're small up front. They're vertically challenged. And I just showed you highlights of Jimmy Wise and said, hey, look at that dude's 20. That dude's 20 years old. He was a number 2 pick. He just went for 23 and 7, 9 of 11 from the floor. But the Warriors could use a guy like that. You know what you would say?
Give me Nerlens Noel, baby.
No,
give it to me again.
Give me a 20-year-old with that ability.
Hey, on the other side, I want to talk some PB&J and not sandwiches. How's that for a tease?
Is this good things about PB&J?
Good things about PB&J.
Go ahead, Cam. Let me hear it for the first time tonight. And I'm not the one who called for it. I love it, man. I'm all about this dude. Chuck is dancing. It's time to go home. Start up the car. By the way, just a little tease. Also, in our 2-on-2 game, Cam, you know Cam. Cam's got a beard. He's the most intimidating guy here at the station. Goes at about, 6'5", 225.
Yeah, could probably guard the 5 for the Warriors.
He's a real mean. Yeah, he's a mean dude. He probably could. And he let Sterling dunk on him to end our little 2-on-2.
Well, Sterling's a big burly man as well.
Sterling's a big dude, but
grizzly.
Cam,
yeah,
I mean,
what's up with the talent in here?
We're not we're not that size. We don't look like that.
We're cardio guys.
All right, we continue here on 95.7 The Game. Time to, Robin, if you're out there, I'll set my watch to when you want to defend Jordan Poole and or go after me, but I'm going to rip into your boy. What do you got? Why don't you I'll be the bad cop, you be the good cop.
Okay.
What is it? Tease something positive.
PB&J.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Little PB&J, and we continue here on 95.7 The Game.
We're on a journey.
I don't have phone access. Maybe we should switch tonight.
What?
I don't have phone access. I can't see who's on the line.
No text line?
Text line, and I have no idea who's calling.
Okay, well, stand by. Line 2, we got Robin in
Oh,
San Francisco.
Whoa. You got to prep me before Robin.
No, Robin's on the line. She's not even talking pool. In the comments, it says lamb.
Oh, all right.
Maybe she had some good lamb for dinner.
Maybe she's just not necessarily going to, punch me in the face. Robin, without further ado.
Okay, so, hi, guys. I just got in the car. Came to get me some hot wings.
Where?
So I didn't hear what you said about Poole, but leave him alone. Let me tell you what. Lamb, I agree with you, Dan, in terms of people don't like Lamb, but he does, although he had that bad turnover, but he has great fundamentals, or better fundamentals than compared to the other players. And you know who else had great fundamentals that people used to talk about trading, get rid of him? He's not this, he's not that, is Looney. And all of a sudden they love him. So, in that regard, I trust Kerr in terms of what he sees in a player, okay? And people are always talking about he can't develop younger players. Well, Dan, tell me who else could develop Damian Jones, Patrick McCall, Jordan Bell, okay? And it's hard to develop young players when you got 5 superstars on the floor, okay? I've been wanting to send that message out to the fan base who's always calling in, ragging on Kerr. But I see what you saw in Lamb. And also I like Lamb and Kuminga on the floor together because it saves Kuminga a lot from doing things defensively. Now, when it comes to Jordan Poole, I want to say this. If you're counting on Jordan Poole to be your number one and take you home, then people are not facing reality. That's not what he was being paid for. And he's still growing. I trust Steve Kerr sees something in him that maybe we don't see yet. And I'm just thankful that he didn't fall down yesterday, even though he didn't have a great game. I'd like to see him attack the rim a little bit more. In fact, I'd like to see the Warriors attack the rim a little bit more than all those threes. That's all I got for you. Bye, you guys.
Say what you will about Robin. She knows her basketball.
Yeah, she said something about falling down, though. He fell down quite a bit.
He always does. Every night. You know what? You want to take... She was saying that Steve Kerr sees something in Jordan Poole that others do not. I think it's just the opposite. I think he's beginning to see that he's exactly what it is that I just laid out. He's not a Warrior that I can win with. Like, the NBA is filled with guys that can score. The NBA's always been filled with guys that can score, but that's all he's giving you. He's shown he can't play defense. He has no interest in playing defense. And he's not a guy who consistently distributes the ball. Do you see DiVincenzo rebound as a guard? That's not what he does. I'm telling you that I do not be shocked if he gets dealt this offseason, because I don't think he's somebody that you would say is a winner. That's who you build around. He's part of the foundation. He's a scorer of the basketball. And the Warriors during this dynastic run, as much as they've scored, their players have always done something else as well. He is a one-trick pony. And that's what the NBA has always been filled with, guys who can score the basketball, and that's who he is and nothing else.
He's an inconsistent one-trick pony. Like, I know he's not getting paid the same amount of money. I'd have to look at the contract structure and see how he compares to someone like a Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard or one of those superstars. But if you're asking me in terms of, hey, who's a better scorer? Jordan Poole, Bradley Beal, Lillard just had, 71 last night? Jordan Poole's not any of those guys.
No.
And you're paying him like one of those guys. If I'm not mistaken, I'd have to do my research.
I don't.
But he's making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put it that way.
He got the extension, and it was market value, and he deserved it, quite frankly. If you're that young and you're scoring points and you have the potential and the upside like that, that's part of rolling the dice. But now that you're into the first season and you're zeroing in the end of his first year of his new deal, and you're looking at him as the future, I don't see it, especially when you look at it through the lens of a Golden State Warrior and an executive and or a coach. While you can see that he can score, and everybody sort of gets lost in numbers, but he gives you nothing else. And the Warriors have never, ever, give me one player in the Warriors who is a big-time scorer, and that's all he did. I can give you players throughout the NBA that they fill it up, and that's just about it. And the Warriors they've never bought into that because they have been about the Anthony Lambs. They're about the DiVincenzos. They're about the Bogut's. They're about the Livingstons. They're about guys who fill roles. And this guy is a scorer of the basketball, period, end of sentence, end of run here at Golden State as far as I'm concerned.
So executive Dan Devone stepping in when Bob Myers' contract does not get renewed, if that were to happen, hypothetically. They hire a young, aspiring general manager, Dan Devone, out of 95.7 The Game. The Big Kahuna, as they call him on the streets. And your first course of action for you is you're finding a suitor for Jordan Poole.
Yeah. I think right now is a great time to deal him because a lot of people see, and probably like yourself and Robin, that he's a young player at 23 years of age that can score the basketball.
And you know he wants to be the guy. And he's not going to be the guy in this system as long as Steph Curry's here.
Let him be a number one. If you think that you need a number one and you're willing to give me something that can help my team, because I'm looking for players that are winners.
You just hate his face.
No. Well, that's part of it. By the way, man, I didn't have access to the text line. How dare you omit and overlook 510? He was trying to come between, that be Chuck Walter, trying to come between you, I, and the consecutive streaks of Jimmy Jack. I just lost him.
Yeah, let Jimmy Jack it, and he said let Jimmy dunk it.
Let Jimmy dunk it.
Put Jimmy on the low post.
He's getting creative here. And there you go. It's 75 consecutive shows now with the Jimmy Dunkett now and or Jimmy Jacket reference. So Poole is still young. Curry wasn't exactly locking anyone. Good. That's a really good analogy. I like it. And he's right. Curry and Poole, and a lot of people, if you're going to defend Poole, will point at Curry because Curry also turned the ball over a lot when he was younger. And he was not a good defender. But
he showed flashes that Poole doesn't.
There was a nuance to Curry. And also, Poole's never going to score the basketball like that at Curry. Like you
can't shoot like him.
No, but if you're going to have somebody that's just going to score the ball, then give me Steph Curry, who's one of the greatest of all time. But I would also push back that Curry also would give you much more and is much better defensively. And when he was younger, yes, he may have been one-dimensional, but you could see that there was a buy-in quality with Steph Curry that I don't see Poole having the wherewithal or the understanding of the small things that it takes to win. You can't teach that crap. It's either in the DNA or it's not. Like winning plays, get on the floor, help, just do those things.
Plays that one Draymond Green makes, and you remember after the punch, neither of those two had been extended, and they extended Poole and Wiggins. Draymond obviously hasn't gotten any sort of money thrown his way. So, yeah, he gets punched in the face, and it was about a week later, pretty sure he got the bag. And now you're sitting there with the bag. And I think you're a little harsh on him. I think you could win championships with Jordan Poole. But at the same time, I don't think he's ever going to be this franchise's number one, at least for the foreseeable future. He's not overtaken Steph Curry. And I think that he would thrive in that role.
I think the NBA has about 35 Jordan Pooles.
And how many guards do the Warriors need?
All right, what do you got on PBJ?
I think PBJ's good. I think he needs to eat some more PBJs, get some carbs, fat, and protein in him.
Oh, he's
maybe
a big fella, man.
Have a few myoplexes. I mean, he's
you see his shoulders?
He's going to be a big fella, but he's young, and you can tell that he was one of those guys that on the bench press they were telling him to lift 12, 10, 8. We got to get him 5 sets of 5 in there. We got to start getting him maxed out, getting with some strength trainers that put some muscle on him, because I don't know if you've seen.
He's not scrawny.
He's not big.
He's pretty filled out. Look at his shoulders, man. That dude is pretty. I think he's like perfect physique. He can bang inside. When I see him inside, I don't see him being inferior physically. I look at him when he's matching up the dudes. I mean, he's a little raw, but I like his size. I mean, that's what I like about it. There's a lot of guys that are big in this league.
There's a lot of things I like about him.
But he's big. Yeah, not
he's
only that,
he can stroke it. Son of a coach, can play basketball. Where are his minutes at this point in the season?
Well,
where are his minutes? What is Steve Kerr's obsession with the two-way guys? And he said, well, they give us a better chance to win. If they give you a better chance to win, you're at 46 games in with Lamb. He's got 50 games before you can't play him anymore. It's time to sign him. It's time to sign him or turn the keys over to It's PB&J.
Well, and that's just it. Anthony Lamb is getting PBJ's minutes. He's playing in front of PBJ. So you got to ask yourself, the only issue I have with Steve Kerr when it comes to PBJ is why throw away years? Like, why throw away his rookie year?
Especially when he can play.
Yes!
It's one thing if he just went out there and it was like, all right, this is Jacob Evans. This guy can't play.
Or if he's let's say he's another shooting guard or he's another wing. You're like, okay, I got a million of those guys.
You're
He's
looking
6'10".
for size. 6'10", you're talking about the burly shoulders.
He's 6'10", and all you do every single night is look down your bench and like, who can I match up with the bigs that are killing me every single night? And I'm not saying, maybe he jumps Lamb or even Kuminga in the rotation, but to wait this long, why is he playing now? It's because out of need. They don't have Wiggins, they don't have Draymond, they don't have Curry, so he's getting run, which I think is ridiculous. We should have seen a lot more of him. He should have been much further along at this juncture of the season. Instead, you're throwing away his rookie year. And so we're like, all right, let's hit refresh next year.
I think throwing away is a stretch. He's gotten decent minutes. I mean, compare him to someone.
He's gotten minutes out of need.
Yes.
Simply because all these guys got hurt. If none of these guys got hurt, he's not playing at all.
So when we shrink this rotation down to 9-10, that was typically the common denominator in the finals last year. In most rounds, yes, there were some games where the Warriors
Is anybody calling?
That's a good question.
I mean,
yeah, we have two on the line.
Jeez, what are you doing to these poor people?
We'll get Chuck, Michael, we see you. We'll get to you in 2 seconds. And Chuck's got a great name, first of all. And secondly, he's got a good point.
To say, you better come strong or I'm going Chuck real quick.
He's got a good point. I'm saying this. The rotation eventually is going to shrink. You have minutes to give on the bench. Jordan Poole's getting minutes. If Gary Payton's healthy, and I know you're saying,
Chuck, let's hear from Chuck.
All right, come on, Chuck. Come on in.
All right. From one Chuck to another Chuck. First of all, why have you guys been talking about Iguodala? I mean, he's taking up space and money sitting on the bench. Now, he is one of my favorite players. It's the only jersey I have. He was, the MVP for the first championship. But, I mean, they've got to give up some of that space so they can keep other players and bring in even another big guy, right? So that's one thing. And also 100% agree. Poole is on the ground all the time. So I will love to hear what you guys think about Iguodala and maybe moving him off and bringing somebody else on to free up some bench space.
Appreciate it, Chuck. Enjoy Marin tonight, by the way.
Hot boy in a hot tub. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Chuck's hanging out in Marin. Maybe this Chuck will be in Marin someday. I hang out in the peninsula now.
All right.
Maybe someday. Anyways, we were getting there. Iggy was next up on the rundown. First of all, how unserious was signing Andre Iguodala this year? Because you say, well, he signed him to be a player coach. Every single player that was asked at Media Day, Steve Kerr was asked, they said, no, he could still play. He could still help this team win championships, and Chuck is absolutely right. He's played 3 games this season. He's scored a total of 7 points. Don't dwell on the past. He's been incredible. Been a part of 4 championships. He can't play anymore. It's as simple as that, and he's just taking up space.
Yeah, I think
if the morale's so great, he's a player coach, he's going to help develop the young guys. The young guys aren't playing.
Best case scenario, I thought that I think they envisioned him having some sort of role and playing some minutes.
But he was so out. I mean, read the tea leaves. He had.
No, you're right.
He made plans. Their first couple of practices, he wasn't there because he had plans.
Yeah.
He was up in Napa. I don't know what he was doing. He was down at Great America riding on roller coasters, trying to win his son a stuffed animal. I don't know his background. I don't even know if he has a son. Anyways, what I do know is he scored 7 points this year. What are you doing?
No, you're right.
What are you doing?
No,
he's just sitting there.
And I mean,
do you owe it to him?
No.
Is that what this is? Do you owe it to him because he's been such a great part of this franchise?
No.
And it's like, all right, if we're going to win 5, Andre's got to be there. Because if not, he's right.
Yeah.
Why is he?
You cannot get sentimental when it comes to professional sports.
Well, that's what it seems like to me because there is no way in hell, as good a defender as that he is, that he's helping this team this year.
You know what's funny? Just taking the pulse of the text line, a lot of people have issues with Jordan Poole. I mean, he's not just MPF, I think, in my Rolodex. I think a lot of people have. And there's a lot of Jordan Poole supporters as well. There should be. He's at fabulous young basketball player. Let's not get it crooked. But there's something amiss about his game. And I just think that...
Just a matter, is he the right fit moving forward for how much he costs and what he can return you? Because if you traded him, you can get a lot back. Pieces that you need.
I would not be surprised if he gets dealt.
I wouldn't.
Not at all. Not at all. He's just...
I was kind of shocked when they gave him the bag last year.
Well, think about the Golden State Warriors. Every year they've won and won NBA championships. Players always, again, I don't mean to continue to harp on this, they don't just simply have a guy that gets big minutes that just scores. That's for the other teams in the NBA. That's not the Warriors have always... There's always been a special secret way how they built things from the ground up. And you've got to be cerebral and you got to do the little things. And they will always tell you that as much as you focus on the offense, their championships were always predicated on defense. And this kid does not give a rip about defense. And the difference between him and Steph Curry, it took him a while to put on weight and muscle and to bang with some guys and to learn angles and to stay in front of people. Early on, I mean, Steph Curry was trying. He was just getting used, and people would ISO him and go right at him. But it wasn't because of lack of effort. This kid, Jordan Poole, looks so disinterested. We were talking about LaMelo Ball. He looks like LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is a perfect example. LaMelo Ball he'll fill it up for whatever team he's playing for, but he'll always be a loser. He's not a winner like his brother. Guys who can score like LaMelo, guys who can lead highlight reels at ESPN with a
like his brother LiAngelo?
But they're not winners. And Jordan Poole is one of those. I put him in that category. Flashy, fun to watch, big numbers. A winner?
Well, he has a championship. He's got one more than you and
That's
I.
true.
Michael is up in Oakland, wants to talk about Jordan Poole. You think Michael's agreeing with you, or is he going to call you an idiot? Michael, give us your thoughts.
Hey, guys, what's up? Hey, look, I am agreeing with him, and I think he touched on something real important. It's the cerebral part of it. And Jordan Poole does his basketball IQ doesn't match his skill level and his athleticism. Basically, a perfect example was last night's game. We were 106, 101, or 105.99, whatever it was. He came all the way down the court with the ball, never passed it. 9 seconds into the shot clock, he took a shot. Not a very high percentage shot. But you that he's not reading the room. He's not knowing where he is in the game, in the time, because he could have ran off at least 15 seconds off the clock, which almost came back to haunt us because they almost came back and beat us. So that's a perfect example of his IQ doesn't match his athleticism and it just doesn't his skill level. That's it.
Yeah, and how many times this year, Michael, have we seen that? Let me just ask you this, Michael and everybody else out there. If it's late in the game and it's nip and tuck, you're tied, you're up 1, you're down 2, and you got 90 seconds, less than 2 minutes to go, do you want the ball in Jordan Poole's hands? Seriously. Do you want the ball and trusting that he'll make the right decision? Hell no.
Well, we had a large sample size last season of pretty close games down the stretch, especially in the Memphis series, and I don't remember Jordan Poole really even being on the floor in those moments.
Well, and it's even exasperated this year. I don't want to look at. We're not here just to rail on a young kid who's 23 and has got the entire future in front of him, but just
here's the deal.
If we're to customize it to the Golden State Warriors, it doesn't fit.
Here's the deal.
You're a scorer of the basketball, and that's all.
You can be critical of someone and at the same time still recognize that they're one of the best basketball players in the world. That's what I don't like these pundits that come out here and say, he's garbage. Yeah, I say that sometimes. But afterwards, I say, yeah, he's garbage, but he's also one of the best basketball players in the entire world. Now, we're getting comparisons on the text line. Jordan Poole's got a little Monte Ellis in him. Thoughts?
No, they're different sort of players, but similar in that they're different in terms of physically how they got their points. Monte was a little bit more, he'd go right at you. He had a mid-range game. I don't think he had Jordan Poole's speed. But similar in that they were scorers of the ball.
I take that back, though. Let's go back to...
And not much else.
Let's go back to Game 6 in Boston last year. When the Warriors made that run, they went down early to the Celtics, and they came back and made that run. It was Jordan Poole that was doing a lot of it.
He was huge.
He was big.
Huge. There's no doubt about that.
And he was huge in that Denver series. It looked like the Warriors were toast. They get the death pool lineup, and bam, the season changed just like that. So he can have a role on a winning team, no doubt about it. The question is, could you trade him and find someone that fits your current need now after this season?
I think he would be such a hot commodity, and so many teams would recognize or would think there's so much they could do with him. And there is. I mean, he's going to be a tremendous scorer in this league. But as far as winning, if that's what we're all about, winning titles, got to go.
All right,
as Mike Singletary would say, I can't win with him.
Adrian and Danville.
Can't play with him.
Adrian and Danville. What's up, Adrian?
Hey, how you doing? Well, I just, like you guys chiming in on Jordan Poole, and, he's a good player, but, he's just, the other day there was a game, I forget what, and, the Warriors were in it, they were fighting back. He crosses midcourt 2 feet, and he starts, throwing these things up. Come on, man. I mean, I also, to me, it's an insult what they paid Looney, considering what he means to the Warriors and what Jordan Poole is getting paid. And I don't, what he will get paid, and, I don't know. I hope that he eventually gets it together, but I don't think he can be trusted right now. Hopefully. But that's what I want to say. I think Looney deserves a lot more money than what he's getting.
Appreciate it. I actually looked this up today. Looney's making plenty of money.
But Looney's someone that like actually $9 million a year.
Someone that actually would like some more money. Looney's making plenty of money.
But Looney's worth about 25 when you think about what it is he's doing to that team. Jordan Poole's pulling down over 20, between 25 and 20. I mean, it's all about the position. But Looney's like he's your MVP.
He's your Iron Man. He always plays, but so does Poole.
Yeah, but he's not as valuable.
Here's the deal. If the Warriors are going to win a title this year, they're going to do one of two things. A, they're going to go get Nerlens Noel.
Oh, my God.
Now,
Dwight Howard.
Okay. Dwight Howard, he's in Taiwan. I told you the stat line, folks. Howard's averaging 25, 14, and 6. All right, here's what's going to happen.
No, you mentioned Dwight Howard's name twice.
No, we'll get back to Dwight Howard. I'm just saying Jordan Poole is going to have to be what he was last year if this team's going to win a title.
I'm glad you mentioned Dwight Howard because I thought you were trying to be, you were having fun at my expense, but now that his name has surfaced a couple of times, I've got to go there. In all seriousness, the reason why if I was that GM of the Golden State Warriors or any NBA team, even when he was in his prime, I want nothing to do with Dwight Howard. And it has a lot to do with the similar sort of thinking when it comes to assessing the game of Jordan Poole. They are now, granted, he won a title in that stupid bubble, but they are not winning basketball players. These are not guys you want on your team. At the time when he was Superman and he's 7'1" and he's ripped and has less than 5% body fat and he's double-double every night with rebounds and points, he was an idiot. He had no idea how to play in the post. He had no idea of the concept and the fundamentals of basketball. He had no idea spacing. He was a fool.
That's why I was joking.
And I wanted nothing.
That's why I was joking, and I said his ticket from Taiwan, it's not happening. He's going to keep playing in Taiwan.
But Jordan Poole is not that ignorant, but Jordan Poole is similar in that, yes, those are players, when you look at them and you look at their stats, you're like, oh, what a good basketball player. No, not if you want to win. Dwight Howard and Jordan.
They already won with Jordan Poole, so your case is irrelevant, first of all. But good try. Secondly, again, I'll mention it. Deadline for bought out players to sign is Wednesday, March 1st. Yes, Wednesday, March 1st, as I rip up the script. Serge Ibaka, man.
Yeah, no rundowns allowed on my show.
Serge Ibaka, man. Serge Ibaka. That's all I'm saying. They call him a blocker for a reason. He can protect the rim. He's cheap as hell.
I feel like I'm in the bullpen.
Bring him in. Why not?
I feel like your catcher sitting here in the squat while you're like, I'm going to take off my jacket. I'm wearing a white T-shirt. Feel like I'm
nice jean jacket, by the way.
Working on the car.
You look like Pony Boy Curtis over here.
All right. So the other thing about JP, and this isn't fair, but he does have to stop whatever this. I thought it was just his, last year, and he would grow up a little bit. But this, we got to get a nickname for him, like Ouch or Wham. Like every single game, he's going down and feigning an injury. And you're like, oh my God, is he really hurt? No, we've been through this 1,000,001 times.
It's like one of the cartoons when they have the cartoons, they have the big bubble that pops out of the person's mouth. Wham!
Yeah, well, what did
slip?
But he's going to be the boy that cried wolf. One day he's actually going to tweak something, and everyone's going to be like, whatever, dude. Just get up, because you do this every single night. And he's going to be like, no.
Meniscus. Yeah.
All right. We got to get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little
baseball rules.
Really? No, you know what?
We'll get it.
I want to get into the Giants. Is it too early to go Giants?
We'll see.
Cam break the tie. He's saying no. I'm saying I'm willing to entertain Giants, and I don't do this very often. So this is your one opportunity, Giant fans. We'll do it for 10 minutes. Cam, what is it? Yes or no? All right, we're staying with the Warriors.
Come on.
Cam has spoken. Back
Spring
after
has
this.
sprung.